Sometimes you have to do that because the easy challenge is one you'll get lazy with. The big challenge gets you hungry.
Oh, how the tables turn.
That's a heavy topic, and we need to focus on that. If not for yourself, then do it for your children.
Black book is in black.
Black
book.
Men Talk, Black Book. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of co-host and co-producer. No, host and producer of the Dr. Vibe Show, co-host and co-producer of Black Men Can Talk. Let's get that straight. What's up, everybody? As always, hope you're keeping blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers, sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that movement. I've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And also, I'm a two-time Canadian Ethnic Media Association Award winner. And you're watching Black Men Can Talk, where Black Canadian men come together, have real, unfiltered conversations about life, culture, and community. Kofi Sadat, what's going on?
I am great today, my brother. I'm feeling well. We had the earlier snow, but like every good thing,
Yes.
it melted quick. So it was all good. But I'm well.
Yeah.
I'm well, I'm well. I have
Yeah.
to thanks. What about yourself? How you feeling?
I'm feeling fine. I was out last night, and by the time I came in, I was traveling along, and people who are watching outside the Greater Toronto area, our major highway in Toronto is called the 401. Well, the 401 was covered with snow. You couldn't see the lane markings.
Yeah.
And I'm going, wow, I haven't had this driving test for a while, but it went fine. There weren't a lot of cars on the road. So that was good. I was coming in from celebrating a good close friend's birthday. So we had a good time, good laughs, met some new people, which is always good, and had some good, solid conversation. So what's going on with you? What's been going on, man? What's been going on for the past week?
You know what? It's I know you always ask for my big win. So kind of what's been going.
A win. Doesn't have to be a big one.
A
Just
win,
a win.
A win that's connected to what's going on is, I decided from, earlier in the week that I'm going to prioritize rest. Right. I was contemplating, doing, a couple of events in December and some work, and I'm like, you know what, I need to actually prioritize rest. I need to listen to some of, the advice I've been hearing, from other brothers and other folks who are in the wellness realm, right? So I'm like, you know what, let me just wind down the year and then get ready to ramp up in the new year. But I'm like, yeah, let me follow the season, right? Where everything kind of slows down and whatnot. So it was funny, as you mentioned, that woke up this morning to a lot of snow, or what we thought was a lot of snow. I was like, what's going on here?
It's winter. It's Canada. It's not officially winter.
It's officially winter, right? So, but
no, it's not. Not till I think it's not till
21st.
We consider it winter. The calendar, no, but whatever.
Yeah. The white stuff is on the ground, and it's cold as it's been. It's winter. But anyways, I'm just saying, prioritizing rest. I really enjoyed this week. I really took it slow, to be honest with you. So yeah, it was good. What about yourself? What's been a win? How was your week? How are things going?
Well, it's interesting. So mirroring what you said, you got up this one. So I got up this one and said, got to shovel that snow. I like using gloves. I mean, mittens instead of gloves, because when you have gloves, each finger is individual, but we have the mittens that keeps the hand warm. I couldn't find I could only find one of the mittens. I'm going, So I had to use gloves, but it was wet snow and it was raining. I'm going, you know what? Let me shovel it, because if I don't, the temperature's going down tonight. You're going to freeze.
Yeah.
Right? So I said, let me get that done. Look at this. So we have FitNet's IQ cameras in the house saying rest is bliss. She also says the official start of winter is December 21st. Yes. It goes, it's not official winter until mid-December. There you go. So other than that, no, it was there's so many different things. I guess one of the things that happened to me with me or through me this week is I had someone confide some personal stuff in their past to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as a person I've just gotten to know recently, and I just felt so humbled. I said, I just wanted to vent. I said, well, people say I'm a big guy, so I got a lot of body mass. So take your best shot and put it all over me.
There you go.
And that was good. And also, I want to chat with you. So how's it feeling being intentional, taking rest over the holiday season? Because that's not you usually.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely not myself usually, and it's but it's necessary. I think,
Yes.
as we talk, as we either get up there in age or stage or different stages of our lives. I'm going from doing a whole lot to say, you know what, I need to prioritize myself and kind of slow down. But I'm enjoying it because, to be honest with
Good.
you, I love going to events that other people are putting on. I love supporting what other people are doing, but not necessarily always in the driver's seat and listening to um, my body and for other people, by extension, your body around what does it
Mhm.
need, right? So if it's not in that place and space where you're going to get up and run the 10K, but you need to actually rest, relax, and heal, because that's what, sleep does. It rejuvenates your body.
100%.
Right. So no,
100%.
I feel good for it, to be honest with you, because even mentally, it's like, yeah, I need to take a break so I can reset. But I can't reset if I'm just in the busy mindset all the time and all the chatter, as we say. But yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm thoroughly
Good.
enjoying that
Good.
aspect right now of leaning into rest.
That's
Right.
good to hear because well, she's still around, but many years ago, a singer named Anita Baker had a great song called Body and Soul.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You
Anita.
know,
Yes, for
take
sure.
care of the body and soul. So that is good. Oh, Fitness IQ Cam says, oh, she goes, I rebuke my birthday being officially winter, LOL, or birthday week, LOL.
Listen, I'm
No
there.
choice of that.
Listen, I'm a January born. I'm with you. Fitness IQ. And
Uh,
listen, and for those who don't know, please listen into her show. Dope show if you want to learn about finances. Um, and really could just even laughter too. I love it. When I tune in, I just love your energy. So I gotta give it out to Fitness IQ, definitely. But yeah, let us know your name of your show and we can promote it as well.
I think it's
During this
called Things I Wish I Knew About Money. I believe that's the show
that I love that.
on the
I love that.
YouTube channel.
Yeah,
On the
yeah.
YouTube channel. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to do something quick here. Come back, do some housekeeping, and another interesting conversation topic coming up on Black Men Can Talk. So hold tight. We'll be right back.
Check out The Morning Vibe on Mondays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Eastern on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel with Dr. Vibe and Ryan Knight, where they discuss important subjects between themselves or have conversations with people who you need to know about.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. We are
Here we
back on
go.
Black Men Can Talk. All right. So let's do some stuff here. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And also subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, Substack. You want to advertise your business product or service on any of these platforms? Email me, dr period. I need to get water in a moment. dr period vibe at the drvibeshow.com. And you're watching Kofi Sadat. And we're talking today about the state of brotherhood. Are Black men disconnected? I want to kick it off here. What was the reason you wanted to chat about this subject? I think, well, it's going to lead into something else, but go ahead.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And we will. There was a YouTube clip that I watched, or Instagram clip that I watched this week that was kind of speaking to this, but it's been on my mind for a minute, right? Because just general observation, personal reflection, speaking to other Black men around, your circles, your tight brotherhood circles. Um, and questioning, what happened to the brotherhood. We used to move in the masses, as we say. Like when we go into a dance back in the day, when we're rolling 10 deep. We're going to the basketball court, we're rolling, 10 deep. We're showing up. But I've noticed that as you get older, there's a huge decline with your circle, and kind of figure out what does that really look like. So watching this Instagram video, which will show a clip of it, it really sparked that inner conversation, right? To share with other folks around what happened to the brotherhood, and it, long story short, it could shift. It could, it could be the same for you, whatever it is. And even for sisters that are tuning in and you're observing, it could be your brother, it could be your man, it could be your uncle, it could be whoever black men are around you. Do you notice? Is there a shift around the brotherhood? Are they close as they were before? So I want to put that out there.
Okay, so with that great setup, fantastic setup, we're going to play the video. So here we go.
Lonely, Brotherhood has collapsed. Brotherhood, as you know, it has collapsed in on itself, and nobody told them. Not because men got weaker, not because women changed, not because feelings got soft. Brotherhood died because the system buried it and taught men to perform masculinity instead of experience it. Because men weren't supposed to live life solo. We know this. We know this. Men weren't supposed to do that. Men were supposed to have each other, though. Not in competition, not in silence, not in dominance, but in witness. In witness. Brotherhood used to mean you weren't grieving alone. You weren't scared alone. You weren't raising your kids alone. You weren't carrying the weight of being a man alone. Right? I'm just saying it. Men were supposed to grow with mirrors and not masks. And when those mirrors disappear, you didn't just lose your friends, you lost yourself. It's a fact, right? The collapse of brotherhood, just so you really get it, the collapse of brotherhood did not make men weak. I am not saying that. It did make them unmirrored. And an unmirrored man will disappear in plain sight. I promise. That's the real epidemic right there in your face. Because a man with no brotherhood has no emotional outlet, no identity formation, no accountability without shame, no place to confess, no.
All right.
There you go.
Lot,
There you
lot
go.
said there. Lot said there.
For
Lot
sure.
said there.
Unmirrored men. Unmirrored men. That's what it is, Like if you don't have that reflection. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you want to start or if you want me to start. Just kind of my reflections of what I see.
Well, I had to watch you do 3 times because the gentleman talks so fast. But so I guess. All right. I think maybe I'll start here. What does brotherhood mean to you at this time?
It's interesting that you asked me that question, because I've been having some conversations. I even had a conversation today just really about that piece, and specifically around speaking about a young man who's struggling with that. But for me, brotherhood is someone that I share a sense of history and connection, and values with. And why I mention that is, you can form friendships, you can have brethrens, like we said, but for me, brotherhood, there's history, there's present, and then there's future thinking. So the Sankofa platform. Usually the ones that I say have the most brotherhood with is the ones that I have that connection. We've been through the thick and the thin. I've seen them up, they've seen me down, and vice versa. And it really is something that holds myself, but also our connection together. So with that being said, through life circumstances, some of us are still here in the physical plane, some of us are not, some of us are drifted certain places. So that is kind of the state when I'm looking at that. I would love to know, like, even for yourself, like, how many folks do you have in your life, how many brothers do you have in your life that have been there for, let's say, half of your life or more, and are still here.
Not half of my life, no. Well, actually, I want to correct that. There's one Brotherhood gentleman named, and you know him, Jonathan Juiceman Shaw.
Yes, Jonathan.
Been a ride or die for long time.
Long time. All right, big
But
up, Jonathan.
I will share something.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't spoken for a long time, and I reached out to him the other day, and he shared some things. I'm going, wow. And a part of me said, I wish you would have told me.
Mm-hmm.
That made me do some reflection, saying, you know what, I've got to reach out more to him
Mm-hmm.
in that regard. But
Yeah.
Jonathan's probably the longest. There's some other gentleman. There's another gentleman too, but he's moved from Brampton to London, so it's not physically close, but we keep in touch weekly. And there's another gentleman who I've known him about 10 years. So I have at least three.
Right.
And the thing is, it's reciprocal.
Mm-hmm.
So they
Mm-hmm.
can lean on me, and I can lean on them. And for each one of them, if they have a good day or absolutely terrible day, they can hang out with me.
Yeah, I hear you. I have about 3 or 4 myself, that I look at, and I'm like anything else. Again, maybe we don't speak as much, or our circles don't touch as much, but at the end of the day, when we do connect, there is that, that connection that, again, for folks who've known you, I mean, you could, again, like I said, you can have brothers that, or a brotherhood that you've created, in the last 10 years or so, could be, 5 years or whatnot. And definitely, I think that's important to have,
Well,
right?
I don't think it's a prayer. I think it's critical.
It's critical. It's critical to have, especially again.
It's critical for me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because I can't do it alone. As I tell people, unless you were born on the Flintstones, you didn't come into this world by yourself, so you shouldn't try to do it by yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of what the video is saying, right? Like, we were not meant to be alone, right? And I think kind of the flip side of the strong Black woman that, can do it alone, or is forced to do it alone because certain circumstances, and you know um sometimes, our sisters lean into that, or lean into it very strongly in a way where it doesn't serve them, because now, you know in spite of everything, and your own humanity, right, you've got to be strong when times that you need to lean on other people, right? And that's what kept us. So I think the opposite side of that now, for a lot of the brothers, is, you got to be a strong man, right? You can't show weakness. And interestingly enough, so two things, right? As we're talking about this, is yesterday was a funeral for, our young brother, Junior J Legit Francois. Rest in power, my brother. And I love the fact that when I was at the funeral and the burial site, when I looked around and I seen the brothers, and I'm not talking about the family tie brothers, but the brothers, his friends, the ones that I've known, that even some of them that didn't speak to him for a minute, they were there. And I seen that brotherhood, I seen that sense of connection. And I was so, just sitting back, I was just proud of these guys. I mean, I was like, yo, the brothers are here. I mean, they were here in life, they're here in death or transition. And I was like, it's important. It's so important that they not just, step into that circle, but recognize that there's value in that circle. Right. And so I went around to different ones. I'm like, yo, you guys, this is great. I just let them know, like, I really admire you individually, in terms of what you're doing in life. But really collectively, guys, I think it's important for you guys to maintain, and they've articulated that much. It's needed. The other thing, though, there was, one of my, I always call these my youth, even though they're like all 20 something or early 30s now. But he was a not funny conversation, but real strange conversation in this way. He gets seizures,
Oh,
right? And the last time I saw him, well, the last time, but a recent enough time, he had a seizure. But because we're used to seeing that happen, it's not as crazy as the first couple of times we saw it. But the long story short, he was apologizing that, I saw him in that state. And I'm like,
Oh
brother,
my.
well, he felt like, okay, well, it's going to be a burden, right? Like, it will be a burden for us to try to take care of him. But I'm like, listen,
Mhm.
I said, don't ever apologize for being, you know, human, for being yourself, for being not at your optimum self, for being unwell, right? Because it's not like you're doing that on purpose. It's just whatever it is that's causing that you probably don't know, or no one really knows why it happens at the end of the day, but it happens. So I said, I go, I'm okay at seeing you um, when you're not at your best, and I want you to be okay to see me when I'm not at my best. And I shared with him, some health challenges that I had, about a year or two ago, right? And he was just like, you. I mean, he was just totally open to it. But I was like, I go, as brothers, we shouldn't not feel comfortable to go to our brothers, our elders, um, and share when we're not at our best, when we're not feeling well, when we're not balanced, right? We don't always have to come out in our optimal self, because we're not, that's not real, right? For anybody. But yeah, it was just an interesting conversation. I was like, wow, like, why apologize for that?
We have to understand that even strong people struggle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Definitely.
Um, let's. I have a feeling this could be a two-parter conversation because. So let me ask you this, and we can both, from personal experience and also from what we hear from the hearts and minds of Black men, what systemic or cultural factors do you think make it harder for Black men to build trust or solidarity with another? And have any of those things impacted our relationships with other Black men?
Well, I think one of the number one systems, right, is family, right? The family institution and the values. And always say that these values are not necessarily in line with our historical values. So us getting an understanding, from other folks around what family should be, and specifically what a man is and is not, what a man can and cannot do. I think the impact, obviously, if you go back further, like, so again, we talked about, quote unquote, toxic masculinity, or a view of like being a man is always being strong. Um, and I think the idea of as a man, or someone being an individual, as opposed to a part of a collective, um, rubs against creating brotherhood, right?
Mhm.
So that system right there, um, which is the first system, the first government, the first institution that we're born into, is the family, right? So that's where we learn what it is. We learn to walk, talk, what I mean, uh, value, whatever it is, we learn it directly from the family. So I think that first system is one of the most critical things, that happen to us, that m- create that barrier into coming together, with your brother, your sister, and how you see yourself, right, as an individual versus as part of the collective, right? So yeah, I think that I would say that I would identify that as a primary system. I mean, education reinforces those pieces as well. Um, you know, uh, yeah. So I think those are definitely, systems that impact us, and
Well,
create
and
those
I'll,
barriers.
I'll just add on. I'll add on to what you're saying, but let me just get there's some comments here. Fitness IQ Cam says correct. Things I wish I knew about money. The name of her show. I got it right.
There you go.
And says I think it's very important for brotherhood to last the seasons of different life situations.
Hmm.
Very good. I add on to what you were saying about the family is the first circle.
Mm-hmm.
The first circle is the family. A lot of times, if the family isn't right, not say you can't be right, but it probably is better when the family is right. In that, I think culturally, again, I refer to one of the books that's foundational for me called Black Men Obsolete, Single, and Dangerous: Stories of the African American Family in Transition.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget the main premise of that book, saying that our heritage is communal. North American, European heritage is based on the individual.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, from that circle there's two circles clashing.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. And then, when it's clashing, what does that do to us? Right? It causes that inner conflict, and we're not sure where to move.
And I'll add on to that. It's a conflict, and when you don't have support or brotherhood, it just becomes amplified.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%. Right? And
It
what is
just amplifies the situation.
it does. It does. 100%. Right?
100%. Here's another one we can look at. Do we feel older and younger generations of Black men view brotherhood differently?
And again, I'm going to answer it from the limited perspective that I've seen around that piece. I think that, like, yes, I would say that we view it differently. And I think that and there's many, in particular, let's just say in the last 5 years or so, we have things like, young people who have been disconnected by things like the pandemic, openly more, like I say, more awareness of, anti-Black racism, violence, and social media impacting isolation. So I look at it, like I said, just a simple example, that when, I was younger, I'm sure when you were younger, there was one ball for the soccer field, there was one basketball for the basketball court, right? And let's use basketball, for example. Nowadays, everybody's got a net at their own house, right? Everybody's playing by themselves at that net, as opposed to going to the basketball court where we all meet, right? So, there's things like that. And like I said, I used to take some young boys to the ball court, and it's like, why are you asking those guys to play with us? You know what I mean? I said, that's natural. They might say no. It's like, they're here, you're here, you want to play a game, they want to play a game. And it was always yes. No one ever said, oh, no, I want to play basketball by myself. Right? It was always a yes. But now I only say that the difference now is that, it's like exercising those muscles that you've never exercised them before. So for a lot of our young people, what I'm finding is that, we're asking them to be more social, but they really didn't come up in that. Right? So from the playground, if everybody's got their own ball, now you become an adult and we're asking you to share the one ball. And again, we'll bring it back to the family, right? And the socialization and the community. We've got to kind of reintroduce, retrain some of these young people about the social piece. I said some of these things are not their fault, right? Because the pandemic happened,
Right.
and it was, quote unquote, government mandated that you couldn't socialize, or there was, social media, and you're online, and even if you want to connect with folks, it's limited, right? So there's some real challenges that have happened to this generation. So I think it's different. We're a lot more. We were used to that, but I also find that um, we also have adapted some new things like social media. We know our elders, for example, they're the CNN generation. They can watch that
Yes.
CNN all day, all long. Am I lying? They could watch that all day, and they're not going outside, or they're not picking up the phone and saying, what's going on, right? So that there's some, technology that has impacted our ability, intergenerationally. That is kind of doing that, right? So yeah. What are your
Got
thoughts?
you.
What do you think? You think that there's different
Yeah,
ways of seeing?
I definitely think there is, because and it's not going to be the first time or the last time. There is a lack of intergenerational connectivity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I just in the space we are talking about now, there are people behind us
Mm-hmm.
that don't communicate with us, and we don't communicate with them. And when I do have the opportunity to have communications with some of those individuals, I say, you know what? If we could just have a conversation together and go after this as an army, it'd
Mm-hmm.
be so much better than going after it with small battalions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And listen, we're not even talking about AI yet. We didn't
Next
get there.
subject.
Listen, we're not talking about AI because that's a whole other topic around how that's impacting, or creating barriers to us connecting, right? People are just, AI is my best friend, AI is my girlfriend, AI is my boyfriend, AI is my counselor, right? So that's
And
a
it's just
whole other
going to have
piece.
more isolation.
Yep, yep, 100%.
Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Not good. Uh, let's see. So here's another conversation piece. Society often frames Black masculinity in rigid terms. How does that affect our ability to be vulnerable or ask for support from other Black men?
So I'm just laughing at fitness IQ mentioning about Delroy, but yeah.
Well, so we thought Delroy is the name that Fitness IQ Cam gives to her chat GPT.
I
She
know, I
called,
know. I figured that was
yes,
it.
okay.
But I respect that it's culturally, if you're Jamaican, that's culturally relevant. Delroy. Um, sorry. There you go. But sorry, you're asking the question. I got thrown off a little bit.
No,
Um,
it's all right. Fitness IQ Cam has a way of doing this. So we could talk about, society often frames Black masculinity in rigid
yeah,
terms.
yeah, yeah.
How
That.
does that affect Black men's ability to be vulnerable or
Hmm.
risk for or ask for support
Hmm.
from other Black men?
I think this is a continued thing. Definitely, like I said, we've been given a framework and a definition, a rigid definition of what manhood is, and specifically what Black men should and shouldn't do. I think this is an ongoing. What's to say? It's not a definition that we need. We need a description. That's what it is, not a definition. And I got that from um, a sister that I'm working on a research project, and she was saying, we really can't be rigid with just definitions, but descriptions, and leave the description open. So, and I had a similar conversation with a brother that was looking to do some rites of passage for his sons, and I was saying, don't have one definition of manhood because we know that we're so dynamic as Black men. It's better to have just a definition and you can add to it,
Yes,
right? 'Cause
it's a definition in progress.
in progress, right? And no AIs. I know folks are out there. We don't need an AI, but have it. I told them have it where you ask different Black men, what does manhood mean to you? You ask women, what is manhood? You ask
Yeah,
different folks, right? And you build on that definition because that's the way you become more rich. Because if you have, you know, a young person that you're working with and they don't fit that definition, And then what do you do with that? Or they're like, hey, I don't feel like the typical quote unquote man, or I don't feel like a real man, right? We've got to broaden our understanding of, what that is, and recognize that it's always a moving target. That's the same way I look at culture. Like, culture should never be static. Culture should always be in movement, because there are
Hmm.
dynamics that impact today's reality. And there are things that are happening tomorrow that are not reflective of yesterday. Right. So yeah, make it be a moving target.
True. True. Yeah, it's so fast moving target. It's
Mm-hmm.
so fast to
Mm-hmm.
even try to attempt to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh let me ask here. Hmm. Have you ever had a ride or die friend, ride or die brother who showed up when it mattered?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm giving thanks for that. Right. I've had quite a few. And yeah, it just really, it's upon reflection, and I'll say that, especially in the days when, you're in your let's say your teenage or adolescent phase um of, I would say, your rites of passage, right? You're transitioning into, what it's going to be to become a responsible adult or a man. And again, I was having this similar conversation today around the importance of having brothers around you that actually can give you that feedback. So whether you're right, whether you're wrong, whether you're experimenting with new ideas or whatever it is, to have folks around you that are like, Dr. Vibe, maybe that's not the best move. Or,
Hmm.
I went through the same thing, bro. Let me tell you what happened. Right. And again, it comes back to the idea of the what the brother was saying about having a mirror, right? Having a reflection, right? Because when you stand in the mirror, someone can stand right behind you and they're in that mirror too, right? A mirror doesn't have to be just me alone in that reflection. So I think it's so important. And yeah, I've had lots, even in my early 20s, lots of ride or die moments with brothers that I'm like, yo, what I mean? I was at university and I was thinking of dropping out because, the finances were challenging. Yo, my bro was like, yo, I got you. Here's tuition for the semester. Then ask for a penny back. Nothing like, yo, I got you. Here it is. Yo, just keep doing what you're doing. Right. So it's stuff like that that stays on your mind. You know what I mean? And yeah, like, think about it. I'm not saying, what would happen one way or the other, but if I had dropped out of school, what would have been the implications of that? Right.
Hmm.
I met my wife at university. Maybe we wouldn't be together. Right. So again, it may sound like a small thing in the moment, but you need that mirror. You need that sounding board, right? You need that ride or die. Like, he's gonna be like, you know what? I got you, bro. Because we don't always have ourselves. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
important to have the right. What about yourself? Do you have any ride or die friends?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be existing if I didn't have them.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And I'm I'm on a continuous journey on learning how to create high valued friendship.
I like that. High
You know,
value friendship.
high valued friendship when you're in that conversation, preferably with
Mm-hmm,
one person and they're looking at you, you're looking at them and you just put everything out on the table. There's no hesitation.
I love that. I love that.
So it's really, really important. Yeah, many years ago, I said one of my goals is if I need any sort of help, it's either a phone call, email,
Yeah.
or digital call away or
Mm-hmm.
text message.
Yeah, yeah. And it's reciprocal, and I think that's also important
Yes,
because
very.
we need to balance out our relationships because we don't always have it, right? Or our friends don't always have it, or our brothers don't always have it. But if it's reciprocal, then you know already that, hey, you know what? I can pick up the phone and say, oh, Dr. Vibe, bro, I'm not lying. I'm not feeling good this week. I'm not going to be on the show. Right?
Yeah.
Do you have me? Boom. And it happens, right? So I think it has to be that way.
Oh yeah,
Um,
it has to be. It has
mhm.
to be, right? There are people there that don't want to see us united.
Yeah. So I got a question for you, right? We talked about, we have brethren some time, we have, brothers in our lives today that we can depend on. What would you say to, a brother that's out there now, or, a family member or a friend of, of a brother that is struggling to find brotherhood? Um,
Yeah.
what would you say, in terms of any kind of advice to help either create
My,
that or connect them to something?
it's a great question. My first suggestion would be, what do they like to do?
Mm, I love that.
What do even more so I can go to in a different path. I would ask that brother saying, is there a goal, dream, or desire that you've wanted to reach, but you haven't reached it yet?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And the reason why I'd ask that question is to find what are they passionate about?
Mm, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
What are they, what are they really passionate about? And is there any way I can help them get to that passion, to the point saying, this is what you told me, close your eyes, and what does that look like? And what does that feel like?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's,
a lot of brothers today, life is happening, man. It's just go, 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 go.
yeah.
And again, coming back to the beginning of our show today, your intention, you're being intentional to yourself so you can help others or be a good service of others. And I think with the brotherhood, we get so caught up in the world machine. And I'll say this, well, I better not probably, if you don't treat yourself right, you
Hmm.
can't treat your family right, you won't have any brotherhood.
Yeah. 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 That's true. That's true. And you got to make time. I keep coming back to this thing around intentionally making time for things to happen. I find it's almost one of the critical factors. When things do not happen, or intentions you put out there, or passions you have out there, they often don't happen if you don't put in the time. So, making friendships or creating brotherhood, you've got to make the time to make it happen and make the time to maintain it. And I think you're right. With the go, 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 it creates this barrier, right? Around, I want to do it, but yo, bro, I've got a million things. When I reach out to my brothers, and I can often tell, I'm like, yo, bro, like, you're super busy, right? You're busy to the point where, and again, I'm coming back to the mirror piece, because I see it in myself at times too, right? I see it in myself at times as well. So, um,
Well, okay.
it's good to see that, right? Like, to know that when you're too busy for your own self, and when I'm too busy for my own self, and then can we call it on each other, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Fitness IQ Camp says life is lifing, and she goes, now questions. She likes to be in control. Are there Facebook groups or other organizations that promote brotherhood? I know in the area where Paul and I live geographically, I know there are some organizations
Yeah.
that promote brotherhood,
Hmm.
and
Lion Circle. I would say Lion Circle is one of
well,
many.
okay, they do, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that. They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
There, I, th- but again, it requires that brother to take the first step,
Hmm. True. True that.
right? It like it requires the brother, and I go back to what I said earlier. Even strong people suffer, so don't
Mm,
feel bad.
right.
And a
Yeah.
lot of times we know when we're suffering,
Hmm. Hmm.
but
Yeah.
because there's not a brother there, we suffer in silence.
Hmm. Hmm.
you
And
know, the suffering. Go ahead.
yeah, and I'm coming back to some of your advice. You're talking about, um, for brothers who are struggling with finding connection, um, and so many good groups out there right now. I can definitely say, but if you're struggling, I think a place to start really is looking at yourself and saying, what is the interest that I have, right? And just say business, for example, is an interest. Are there any black men business groups, if that's what you're looking for in terms of the brotherhood, right?
Well,
And you might find that just as an interest, right? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
will
Go ahead.
say too, if there are any black men, we're digital, so this is a global platform, but especially in the Greater Toronto area,
Mm-hmm,
that feel disconnected, don't be afraid to reach out to any of us.
mm-hmm. For sure, for
Right.
sure.
My call to action today is, if you're feeling disconnected, what is the first step you can take to be connected? What's the first step? And how committed are you to have that
Mm-hmm.
happen?
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
It's true.
because
It's true.
disconnected, I agree. I just from what I see, there is a lot of disconnect.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that's within age groups, and then definitely the different age spans. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely there is.
yeah, yeah. And interesting, when we say the word disconnect, it's kind of like it can mean two things. It can mean you're not connected, but a disconnect could also be something around like a misunderstanding or lack of communication, right? You're disconnected, right, around that piece. So I think it's out there, but you just have to look for it. You know what I'm saying? You really have to. I agree with you saying you have to be the person who takes that first step, and you have to see that again. You know, being from our Afrocentric or African-centered or cultural framework, we're not made to do this thing alone. We don't do good with alone,
No, not at
right?
all.
We
Not
really
not
don't.
at all.
No, we don't do good with it.
Uh it's a so Fitness IQ Cam, who should be on live, but she just wants to be behind the keyboard. Where do they go when they're having hard times? Sometimes it's not only where do they go, or what do they do when they're having hard times? Because
Mhm.
if they're having hard times and there isn't a brotherhood there, they may turn into not good behaviors.
Mm, mm, yeah, yeah.
You know, that you may see some not good behaviors
Mhm.
happening because of they're depressed.
Yeah.
Or they're not, I would say, sorry, I would say depressed. They're challenged. Let me put it that way. They're challenged emotionally.
Yeah.
And again, there are, like I said, I feel blessed that I have people I can pick up the phone if I'm having a good day or a bad day.
Mhm.
There's a number of black men, they've grown up. Actually, here's a perfect example about disconnection. I was at an event last night. I was chatting with a gentleman who hadn't seen in a while. And there's a group of us that mentored a group of him and other gentlemen numbers of years ago, and he was one of the gentlemen who started mentoring younger. And I asked him about a younger gentleman he was mentoring, and I won't say his name, but I said his name. Says, "Oh, he doesn't go by that anymore." I go, "What's that? What's that all about?" Because he has a bad relationship with his father, and his
Mhm.
father had the same name, but he is edited his first name, so he doesn't have his father's first name.
Right. Right.
So
No,
you see, that's disconnect right there,
that's
generation
disconnect.
disconnect.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's so true. And look at that. Right. And sometimes
So,
that disconnect is around from, you know, relationships,
so there you
legacy,
go.
whatnot. Yeah.
So Kofi coach says disconnected could be not being seen by your social circle or familiar or favorites. Yeah, and that's another thing. It all starts with you, because if you don't feel you're getting, and this is definitely a two-part conversation, the
Yeah.
impact of social media on the
Mhm.
brotherhood.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw a clip the other day, and I don't know how old it is, but um, Oprah Winfrey was in it. I think she was speaking to some not younger people, just speaking to people in general. And the topic was like folks who have not spoke to their family in a while. So then there was one lady that says, I haven't spoke to anybody in my family in a year intentionally. And then someone said 8 years, or someone, it was just like, okay, right? And it comes back to, those are the things that are going to, and sometimes it's good reason, don't get me wrong, but those are the things that impact your loneliness when it comes to the brotherhood, right? Because is there anybody, whether it's family, and people cut off friends, family, or the likes of it all, right? So, as Brother Kofi was saying, if you're not seen in those circles, then it's hard to, create brotherhood, right? Because you've cut
Well,
yourself off.
so fitness and QCAM, sometimes you have to disconnect from family.
Yeah,
Understood.
yeah, of course,
I
yeah.
agree.
Hmm.
I think though, when things are going well with family, with you and your family, it's great. When they're not going well,
Hmm.
it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And adding to this conversation too is that I think and believe that Black men are not well, I would say race. We have brotherhood when they're younger, but it's a different type of brotherhood. It's more based more social.
Hmm.
That's where I'm coming from. I think it's definitely based on social environment than
Yeah.
life environment.
And I want to add to that because I think part of it is, like it becomes easier if we have those, let's say, similar interests. Here's the basketball, here's the soccer ball, here's whatever it is. Let's meet at the court. But when I'm getting older, I don't play ball anymore. You're not going to find me at the court. Where do I find the brothers at? Right? I don't party anymore. Right? So I'm not going to meet you in that realm. Right? I don't go to a certain place. I'm not in school anymore.
Yeah.
So, again, so now where do brothers meet? Right? What environments would bring us together? What activities would bring us together? Right? So that's the question.
Well,
I mean, there's
maybe
no
it's
simple answer. There's no simple answer because of the complexity of who we are, right? Dr. Bob, you
no.
might be into something, or I might be into something different, right? So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a very good question. What would get them out to meet up with each other?
Hmm. Hmm.
There would have to be. I'm just throwing something out there. I don't know how fees have a men's night and
Hmm.
make it a mix of social but also conversation.
Yeah.
Because if you have the conversation, it's not task oriented, but if
Hmm.
if you have the activity
Right.
and then flip it in, but also provide that conversational time,
Hmm.
structured and unstructured event.
Right. I think so.
A
I think there's
structured.
a balance that's needed.
Yeah. So Kofi Coach is here saying, carry generational ancestral burdens many Black men inherit unspoken trauma. Oh yeah, family survival patterns, emotional suppression. Don't cry, man up. Absolutely. Um, I'm borrowing this from one of my mentors. She told me that the Black environment, many is suffering from trauma, repetition, and symbolism.
Mm.
Kofi Coach also says, how can we support men that feel responsible for healing general wounds without guidance? My first response or suggestion to that is if you want to be with someone, you got to go to their bus stop.
Mm.
You got to, if you want someone to ride with you, you got to go to their bus stop. And maybe it's something we chat offline. We
Hmm.
just have a moment or time where guys come out and just hang out. Just hang out.
Yep. Yep.
So obviously, you probably want to have some food, some Dominoes. Just hang out. Just talk. Don't. Sometimes that unstructured can be the best thing.
Yeah, it's true. It's true because it also takes the pressure off, right?
Exactly.
And then also we don't have to perform, right? We don't have to
Well,
perform.
see, that's the thing. That's again, no performance. You just come as you are.
Yeah.
But come. And even if you just want to sit there, that's fine. No one's forcing you. Kofi says scarcity mentality, poverty, low standards for living, promiscuity, bad diet, and nutrition lead to health. I says, oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Don't we find it funny that we go into some grocery stores and at the front they have a lot of terrible food, and at the back there's a pharmacy.
All related.
Right? They feed it, you get fed bad food, and then at the back you got to go for your meds.
That's it.
You know, you got to go for your meds. Fitness IQ Cam says, I like that quote. Which quote you talking about? Oh, the one about if you want to meet with someone, you got to go to their bus stop. Yeah, I like that. You got to go to their bus stop.
Yeah.
And that
See where they're at.
In context of this conversation, that means we have to go out there and just start having conversations with men.
Yeah.
Or just even saying hi to them. That's it. Start small and build.
I love it.
Well, we have reached the top of the hour, and I know you're doing your Batman thing. So any final comments? I definitely think my suggestion we make this a series, because there's a number of conversation pieces and questions that I want to ask and have conversation about this. I got a whole pile of things deep into this.
All right. And so let's maybe focus this for December. Right?
Yeah.
So we'll have a couple more conversations.
Brotherhood.
Yep.
December is Brotherhood month. And
Brotherhood.
offline we can structure different conversations in December about Brotherhood month.
All right. And we'll invite some other guests. So if you're interested in coming on to the show, how do they find us?
Okay. Well, a few things. Well, first things first, if you want to get in contact with Mr. Kofi Sadat, there's his information there. I believe I've shared it in the chat. Now, I just want to make sure. Yes, it's in the chat. Yes, both. So where you're watching this live on replay on any of the platforms that I'm broadcasting it from, the contact information is there. But Maroon, I love that. YouTube, NASA Community, Facebook, Paul Osbourne .31, Kofi Morris, Get Well, Stay Fit, Instagram, Kofi Coach _ and also at Cosmic Wellness Group, and Kofi Coach on Facebook. Kofi, I know you couldn't be here on screen, but you made this an epic conversation. So thank you for your continued positive contributions. Very much appreciated. If you want to get a hold of moi, everything is under one thing, taplink.cc /the Dr. Vibe Show. So as we sign it off, and yes, we'll be talking about Brotherhood, because tomorrow's the first day of the last month of this year.
This is it.
Check that. Check it. So Black Men Can Talk. You can watch replays on the Dr. Vibe Show, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the Dr. Vibe Show website, and Paul Osbourne on Facebook. Now we are done. So what we're going to do is this: live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith, walk good, and we'll catch you soon.
Time that our parents, they're like, I have nothing to teach you. I don't know nothing. And
my dad's at that point now. It says,
that's my point.
But I'm saying, no, Dad, you got lots more to give. You know how cold it is when these two brothers in their yard.
You know that. You know that. You don't know that, bro. You know
No
that.
joke.
I know we all have these things, but you know what? My go-to is this thing.
Wow.
Black book. It's in the black.
Black book.
Men Talk, Black Book.